Shaka Zulu's story is one etched in blood and glory, a saga of unprecedented military innovation and nation-building. But before the legend, before the empire, there was hardship. It begins with his birth in 1787, an event shrouded in controversy, as the illegitimate son of Chief Senzanga, the leader of the Zulu clan, and Nandi, a princess from the Langeni tribe. Their union was a brief and tumultuous affair, setting the stage for a life marked by adversity. Cast out and shamed by Senzanga, Shaka and his mother Nandi were forced to wander, becoming outcasts in a society that valued lineage and legitimacy. This early period was defined by enduring constant scorn, relentless bullying, and the sting of rejection, experiences that would ultimately forge his legendary resilience and unyielding ambition. Rather than break him under the weight of such adversity, these early trials instilled in Shaka a fierce sense of self-reliance and a protective instinct, especially towards his mother Nandi, who remained his most trusted confidant. He became determined to not only survive but to rise above his outcast status, fueled by a burning desire to prove his worth and command respect. He learned a harsh lesson, that respect was not freely given, but seized through strength, cunning, and unwavering resolve. He dedicated himself to developing both his physical prowess, honing his skills as a warrior, and cultivating a sharp, observant mind, always analyzing and learning from the world around him. But Shaka's fortunes were about to change, offering him a path towards fulfilling his burgeoning potential. This turning point arrived when he and Nandi found refuge and acceptance with the Ndwandwe clan, a powerful group led by the astute and influential Chief Ndwandwe-Zulu. Joining the ranks of the Ndwandwe army, Shaka found an environment where his innate talent for warfare could truly flourish and be recognized. He quickly distinguished himself through his exceptional courage in battle, his innovative tactical thinking, and his relentless drive to excel in all aspects of military life. Recognizing Shaka's extraordinary abilities, Ndwandwe-Zulu took him under his wing, becoming his mentor and guiding his development. Ndwandwe-Zulu saw in Shaka a leader in the making, and he strategically promoted him through the ranks, providing him with opportunities to learn and grow. Fate intervened when news arrived of the death of Shaka's estranged father, Senzanga. With Ndwandwe-Zulu's strategic backing and military support, Shaka prepared for his return to the Zulu clan, not as a humble supplicant seeking forgiveness, but as a powerful force, ready to claim his birthright and assert his dominance. Upon his return, Shaka swiftly and decisively eliminated his rivals, those who stood in the way of his ascension. With cunning and force, he seized control of the relatively small Zulu clan, establishing himself as their leader. The once outcast son had returned, not just as a member of the tribe, but as its king, ready to reshape its destiny. However, Shaka's ambitions were far grander than simply ruling over the Zulu. His vision extended far beyond the confines of his new throne. He harbored a revolutionary vision, to forge a new kind of nation in southern Africa, a nation built upon a foundation of military might, strategic warfare, and unwavering loyalty. His goal was nothing less than to fundamentally transform the entire region through conquest and unification. Shaka's early years were far more than just a simple tale of survival against the odds. They were the crucible, the transformative process that forged a revolutionary leader, a military genius, and a nation builder. From the depths of humiliation and rejection, he discovered an unyielding inner strength, and from the sting of being an outcast he forged his own destiny, a destiny that would forever alter the course of Southern African history. The rise of Shaka Zulu, the legend, the king, the conqueror, had only just begun. Once in power, Shaka wasted no time transforming the Zulu from a minor clan into a military powerhouse. He restructured society, turning the age-grade system into a permanent professional army, the Amabutho. Warriors lived in military barracks, trained relentlessly, and owed loyalty directly to Shaka, not their clan chiefs. He broke down tribal divisions, forging a unified Zulu identity by integrating conquered peoples into his regiments. Discipline was absolute. Cowardice meant death, and warriors trained barefoot to toughen themselves for rapid marches. The Zulu army became a brotherhood, bonded by discipline and devotion to their king. This force was the engine of Shaka's expanding state, enforcing his will and assimilating new peoples. The Amabutho were more than soldiers. They were the living embodiment of Shaka's vision. Under his command, the Zulu were being reforged into a weapon that would reshape southern Africa. Shaka revolutionized warfare, not just through strategy, but by fundamentally rethinking its tools. He He understood that the right equipment, wielded with skill and discipline, could transform an army. Rejecting the old ways of distant spear throwing, which he saw as inefficient and lacking in decisive impact, he introduced the Ikulwa, a weapon designed to bring the fight directly to the enemy. The Ikulwa was a short, heavy-bladed stabbing spear, perfectly suited for brutal close combat, turning warriors into human battering rams. Warriors were strictly forbidden to throw their primary weapon, the Ikulwa. It was meant for up-close, personal engagement. Battle became a brutal test of courage, discipline, and physical prowess up close, demanding unwavering commitment from each warrior. Shaka also recognized the defensive potential of a well-designed shield, and subsequently redesigned it, creating the large Isilangu, a shield far superior to its predecessors. The Isilangu was large enough that it effectively protected the body, offering substantial coverage in the heat of battle. But it wasn't just for defense, it could also be used offensively to unbalance foes, creating openings for the Ikulwa. The combination of the Ikulwa and Isilangu, wielded in coordinated attacks, turned the Zulu into fearsome close-quarters fighters, unmatched in their ferocity. Regiments were easily identified by unique shield patterns, fostering a strong sense of pride, loyalty, and even fierce rivalry among the different units. The sight of thousands of Zulu warriors advancing in absolute silence, a wall of muscle and determination, shields gleaming menacingly in the sunlight, was often enough to terrify their enemies before a single blow was even struck. These weapons were far more than mere tools of war, they were potent symbols of a new, aggressive, and undeniably powerful Zulu identity. Shaka's military innovations combined with his rigorous training made his warriors not only deadly but also incredibly unified and disciplined. The Zulu army's meticulously crafted and strategically employed arsenal became a key factor in their unprecedented dominance across the region. War, under Shaka's command, was no longer a drawn-out affair. It was now swift, decisive, and utterly devastating for those who stood in their path. Shaka's tactical genius peaked with the Horns of the Buffalo formation. The main force, or chest, engaged the enemy head-on, while the horns, fast regiments, swept around to encircle and trap them. A reserve loins unit waited to reinforce or deliver the final blow. This system demanded discipline and precise timing, turning battles into coordinated annihilations. The formation's flexibility let Shaka adapt to any threat, overwhelming larger foes with speed and surprise. No longer were battles indecisive skirmishes, they became total victories. The buffalo horns formation became the signature of Zulu warfare. Under Shaka, the battlefield was transformed into a place of relentless, organized destruction. With his new army and tactics, Shaka unleashed the Mafeking, a storm of conquest that redrew southern Africa's map. He demanded total submission, join the Zulu or be destroyed. His disciplined Amabutho crushed rivals, spreading terror and forcing many to surrender without a fight. The Zulu advance triggered mass migrations, famine, and chaos as displaced peoples clashed across the region. Old societies fell, new ones like the Ndwandwe rose, and the landscape was transformed by violence and upheaval. In just over a decade, Shaka built a centralized empire of over 250,000 people from a clan of 1,500. The Zulu state was built for war, its economy and society geared to support the army. Captured cattle and assimilated peoples fueled further expansion. The Mafeking brought immense suffering, but from its crucible, the Zulu emerged as the region's superpower. Shaka's empire was forged in blood and iron. Shaka was a figure of immense complexity, a leader whose impact on the Zulu people is still debated today. He was both a visionary, possessing a strategic brilliance that reshaped warfare and tribal dynamics, and a tyrant, whose iron fist and ruthless methods left a trail of fear and bloodshed. He unified the Zulu, forging a powerful nation from disparate clans, inspired unwavering loyalty through personal bravery on the battlefield, leading from the front and sharing the dangers with his warriors, and built a powerful national identity, instilling a sense of pride and shared destiny in his people. But his rule was also marked by pervasive fear, a climate of anxiety that permeated every aspect of Zulu society. Disobedience, even the slightest infraction, meant swift and brutal death, and frequent public executions served as a stark reminder, ruthlessly enforcing his absolute authority and silencing any potential dissent. After the devastating loss of his mother Nandi, the woman who had shaped his life and provided unwavering support, Shaka's profound grief spiraled into madness. a descent into irrationality that would have terrible consequences for his people. He imposed bizarre and increasingly cruel mourning rituals, forcing his people to participate in displays of grief that were both excessive and terrifying. This unleashed a veritable reign of terror, plunging the Zulu kingdom into chaos and despair. Thousands upon thousands died for the perceived crime of failing to demonstrate sufficient sorrow, victims of Shaka's increasingly erratic and brutal decrees. Even precious cattle, the lifeblood of the Zulu economy, were slaughtered en masse in extravagant displays of mourning. His unpredictable and often senseless violence created an atmosphere of constant, unbearable tension, leaving his people living in perpetual fear. Shaka was, in essence, both a creator and a destroyer, a paradox of immense proportions. His undeniable genius built a powerful and enduring nation, but his inherent cruelty and instability sowed the seeds of fear, resentment, and ultimately, his own demise. His complex and contradictory leadership defies any simple judgment or easy categorization. He was a figure of light and darkness, strength and weakness. He was undeniably the architect of Zulu greatness, the driving force behind their rise to power and prominence, and yet, he was also the source of its deepest and most profound suffering, inflicting unimaginable pain on the very people he claimed to lead. Ultimately, the seeds of his own downfall were sown not by external enemies, but by his own internal tyranny and unchecked brutality. Those closest to him, the very individuals who had once been his most loyal supporters, began to fear for their own lives, recognizing the growing danger he posed. Shaka's power was absolute and seemingly unchallengeable, but beneath the surface of his seemingly invincible reign, it was also dangerously unstable, teetering on the brink of collapse. Shaka's greatest test came against Zwide and the powerful Ndwandwe kingdom. Outnumbered at Gokli Hill, Shaka used terrain and tactics to defeat the Ndwandwe, proving his army's superiority. Zwide returned with a larger force, but Shaka avoided direct battle, ordering scorched earth tactics, abandoning kraals, hiding food, and harassing the enemy. The Ndwandwe, starving and exhausted, were ambushed at the Mulatuzi River. The Zulu struck at dawn, shattering the invaders and forcing Zwide into exile. The Ndwandwe kingdom collapsed, and Shaka absorbed its people and lands. This victory cemented Shaka's dominance and expanded his empire. The war showcased his strategic brilliance and ruthless efficiency. Shaka's methods turned the Zulu into the undisputed power of the region. His legend grew with every conquest. The defeat of the Ndwandwe was a turning point in southern African history. Shaka's empire now stood unchallenged. By the mid-1820s, Shaka's rule was absolute but unsustainable. His brutality and paranoia alienated even his closest allies. His half-brothers Dingani and Muslangana, fearing for their lives and the kingdom's future, plotted his assassination. As Shaka planned another costly campaign, the conspirators struck at Dukuza, stabbing him to death. Legend says his dying words warned of swallows, a prophecy of coming European invaders. Shaka was buried in an unmarked grave. His brother Dingani seized the throne but lacked Shaka's genius. The kingdom entered a period of instability and decline. Shaka's death ended an era but left a power vacuum. The Zulu Empire, forged by his will, now faced new threats from within and beyond. The Titan was gone, but his shadow loomed over the land. Shaka Zulu's legacy is both monumental and controversial. He forged the Zulu Empire from obscurity, creating a military machine that would challenge even the British decades later. Yet his conquests unleashed the Mafeking, causing immense suffering and reshaping southern Africa. New nations rose from the chaos, while others were destroyed. Shaka's image has shifted over time, from tyrant in colonial histories to symbol of black pride and resistance during apartheid. Today, he is celebrated as a founding father of the Zulu nation, his name attached to landmarks and festivals. His innovations in warfare and statecraft changed history. Shaka was a unifier and a destroyer, a genius and a despot. His story forces us to confront the costs of power and unity. More than 2 centuries later, the echoes of Shaka Zulu still reverberate across Africa and the world.